Hello, and welcome to Castle for One Games. I am George Castle, and today I'll be playing Moon, designed by Hack and Holgarter. This is a 1 to 5 player game, but today I'll be playing a round of the solo mode to mainly give you an idea of how the mechanism works with the AI. So we will be playing against an AI opponent by the name of GURPS, which I'll be referring to as AI just out of habit. And because you came to see my opponent, GURPS, play, I'll mostly fast forward my turns to speed up the presentation and get to the good stuff. Now, the game is a pick and pass based building game along with hand management and worker placement. Well, in this case, it's rover placement. And the game flow is a bit different than the other player counts in that there is no pick and pass with the AI. It's just pick and build, and then we just take turns. Now, if you want to get to the basics of the game, I would recommend watching an introductory or tutorial video of other player counts, such as Slicker Drips found on the publisher website by Sinister Fish, and I'll pop a link down in the description. So I won't be going into too much detail, just the playthrough. And after the game, I will throw in my personal thoughts of the game and the solo experience. Hopefully, if I have some time, I'll throw in a bonus and publish a second video where you can see me finish out the game and get more ideas of other scenarios. Also, I wrote up a quick reference guide that I think would be helpful. It's helped me with kind of the flow of the game since I'm still kind of learning. I can add a link to the description below as well if you're interested. And finally, I will type up some comments for any errors during the game, but if you see any mistakes made, please feel free to add your comments below. So with all of that out of the way, let's rock. All right, welcome to the setup. You and the AI are going to each get a base, except make sure that when you do set up, you never use the 6 in base. This one is actually used for other player counts, not for the solo. But as you can see, I start with the Perry base, and GURPS will start with the Atkin base. Next, make sure to remove the following cards and place them back in the box. They will not be used in the solo mode. So you'll notice that though there will be some Era 1s and Era 2 structure cards, these specifically have a player count of 3 or more. As you can see in the middle, these will be taken out of the solo mode. You will also notice that there is a 2 or more player card here in the middle. This is the Science Club. You will not add this to the solo mode either. And then next, there's an Era 2 and an Era 3 expedition cards. This is the Sneaky Expedition and the Bartering Expedition. Both of these will be taken out of the solo mode. And lastly, there are 2 of these First Expedition cards, and these will be removed as well. Next, you then distribute 2 rovers for each of you. I have 2 rovers, and GURPS has 2 rovers. Then it's the reputation cards. As you can see on my display here, we have 3 rows, and make sure you do have 3 cards for each row for each era. Bronze is for Era 1, which is my bottom row. The silver cards are for Era 2, which is in the middle row. And then finally, the gold cards are for Era 3, which are my top row. We've also set up a flag reward board here and added all the 3 value hearts under each of the flags. And if you may remember, industry flag, science flag, the housing flag, the food flag, the transportation flag. And once those are set up, we want to make sure we have at least 3 hearts under this X value. So anything in Era 1 with an X will have a value of 3 hearts. And then at the end of this era, we're going to remove one of those hearts. It'll be valued at 2. And then the last era will only have 1 heart value. Now for the AI, we have a draw pile set up here with all the red solo cards shuffled, along with its base and the 2 rovers I mentioned. And that's pretty much the setup for GURPS. And that's the setup. Next, you don't get to start with cards in your hand like a 2-player setup. We'll be separating some stacks instead during the construction phase, which I like to refer as the turn display setup. And there will be a turn display setup in subsequent rounds, which will be followed, of course, for Era 2 and Era 3. So what you do is you grab the stack for Era 1. We'll separate the expedition cards. And now we're going to want the structure cards, at least 4 draw stacks, 6 cards in each. All right, that leaves us with 4 cards left. Put that here. All right, and then we are going to distribute 1 expedition card for each of the stacks here. And finally, after you have set up the display, make sure that you have at least one card in the discard pile from the current era. We'll flip this one up, and this will be our discard pile. And now I'm going to fix this up. I have the general supply for resources, for rovers, and I have these high value hearts separated from the regular 1 and 3 hearts. And those will be set outside of view just for room constraints. All right, next is the production phase where you actually gain resources from the blue cards. Just remember that the AI does not receive any resources throughout the entire game. In this case, I'm going to receive a biomass token because of my blue on the side of this base. And that is what I start with. GURPS would have started with a water token. However, GURPS doesn't get any resources. All right, we are now ready for the first turn phase. You take turns first, right? By taking the first stack to the left and then working your way all the way to the right. And each stack represents a turn. And we'll be taking turns between us and GURPS. So we'll take the first stack. And I like to look at the expedition cards first to see what we can get based on our hand. So this one says, you may take an assimilation reward from the current hand. Perfect. So these are the assimilation rewards. As you can tell, on the bottom left-hand corner of each of these cards, there is a trash can right next to them. So this one has, if I were to assimilate, it will give me a biomass token. These two give me an energy token. This one gives me 3 hearts. That's a really good one. Then you have the another biomass token and another energy token. So the good thing about the expedition card is you don't actually have to throw away the card. You can actually just receive the bonus and still keep the card and still play it. So that's really good, and I really like this one. The obelisk has 3 hearts. I want to start with some points, so I'll go ahead and choose that one. All right, we're going to add 3 hearts. There it is. I'm on the board. And now I just need to select the card that I want to play. And this one is free. As you can see, there's no requirements there. I like that, so I'll put it on this side. This one is also free. This one provides a metal token. This one provides an energy token. This one is also free, so a lot of these are free. This one's a biomass token. This one does require an energy token, the lead garden, but yeah, I don't have any, so that's going to be on this side of the pile there. And this is the junkyard. Now, I really like the junkyard because this one gives you any resource you want to produce, but it does require an industry flag. And the only one that has an industry flag right now is GURPS. So I would have to use one of my rovers, send it over to GURPS, place it on his card, place it onto the industry flag, and that would meet the requirement to purchase the junkyard. However, that obelisk sure looks tempting. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one instead. I'm going to place this one next to the base. That is not considered a production or a flag or a yellow card. So this can be used on a later turn, so I can take 2 turns. And the reason you want to do that is because the obelisk gives you an opportunity to see if other stacks have better cards than the stack you just got. So I'm going to go ahead and finish my turn. We're going to place these cards now back into the draw deck, and it's going to be tilted. The game suggests to tilt it so that way you remember you've taken your first turn. All right. Now we're going to move on to GURPS, and all we do is we just flip a card and read what it says in this reference box. And it says GURPS scores the value of all the hearts placed on your cards. Typically, there'll be opportunities where we're going to be able to place hearts on our cards, but right now there are none, so there's no score for GURPS right now, and we're just going to put it on this side of his base. So now it'll be back to me. All right, let's flip it, see what we have in Expedition. It says bonus action, add a resource from the supply to add to the flag rewards. The winner gets the resource. So right now I'm beating the AI in this transportation flag, so it would be beneficial to place the resource on that flag in case I could win it. But let's see if there's any other cards. So we're going to go ahead and choose this one, the Rover Bay. And the reason I like this one is because it gives you a rover. And all I need is to have a transportation flag, which I do. So I'm going to go ahead and purchase this one, put it there on this side, move my resource out of the way. All right, and now I'm actually really tempted to use the obelisk this early. The only thing is, because this trailer park would be great to have, because this is another flag that GURPS doesn't have. However, it is going to require a water token, which means I'm going to have to use my rover to get it from GURPS. So let's place this here and let's take it over to GURPS. All right, so I just got to put it on top of his card, and now I get the water token resource to go ahead and pay for that trailer park. All right, so that goes back in the box. And actually, I just realized I also get that rover as soon as I build it. So I'm going to get a rover back anyway. So there we go. That's my turn. Let's go ahead and place these back. Now what happens is I've already used the obelisk. I have to place it back in the current hand. And now this hand is completed. Now we just need to go back to our expedition card, and I'm going to place that flag reward of any, it gets the resource, right? So any resource I want. So I'm going to go with a water token, and I'm going to place it over to the flag that I want, which in this case, it'll be the transportation flag. So now when we do the end of phase scoring, if I beat GURPS in that flag, I will get not only the heart reward, but also that resource. So now my turn is complete. We'll go ahead and put these back, and we're going to tilt it so we know that we've already taken that turn. Now back to GURPS. All right, GURPS, what you got? So place 1 heart on each flag GURPS is currently winning. It is currently winning in the industry flag. So it will receive 1 heart on that industry flag. And we'll just put it on the bottom. Usually you can stack them, but I prefer put them right there for now. All right, that's the end of GURPS' turn. It is back to me. We'll take the third one here, flip it over. All right, influential expedition. It says add 1 heart to one of the flag rewards. Okay, so I can add the 1 heart into my transportation flag since I'm beating GURPS, and GURPS just tied me on the housing one, so that's not beneficial. But let's see if there's anything else I'm interested in. The food truck really looks tempting. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get the food truck. This requires a housing flag, which I do have, and it requires a biomass token, which I also have. So I just have to pay that, and now this card is mine. And now I'm beating GURPS in 2 different flag categories. I have the transportation and the food. So I'm going to use my expedition, and I'm going to place a heart on top of the flag I believe I may be winning on, and that's going to be the transportation flag. And there we go. All right, that's the end of my turn. All right, and now we're going to go to GURPS. Let's see what you got. It says GURPS places 2 hearts on their base. Now, it took me a little bit to understand what that meant, but it's very specific. It says place 2 hearts on their base. And that means we're not going to place it onto their supply or anything like that. We're going to actually put it on their base. So we're going to grab 2 hearts and place it anywhere on their base. And then what'll happen is during end of phase scoring or end of era scoring, this section here says that the players will earn hearts equal to the hearts placed on their cards. These hearts are placed on their cards, and they will receive the same amount that are on there. So there's 2 hearts, they will get 2 more points, and they can carry that over to the next era. So every era going forward, GURPS will receive 2 hearts every time we go through that section. So that's a really good move, GURPS. So that goes here, and now produces a lot of energy tokens in case I need them. All right, back to me. And this is the last one for this phase. All right, hyped expedition. You gain 1 heart for each flag you're currently winning in. Okay, let's see if there's any more hearts or any more flags that I could be winning in. All right. The only one that I could afford is this ice vapor. It's free and it will produce a water token. I obviously need resources. I'm kind of behind here. So I'm going to go ahead and get this one, and I'll get that water token. All right. Now we are done with our turn. Oh, actually, let's go ahead and add that heart for the flags I'm currently winning on. All right. So I'm winning on 2. I'm winning on the food flag, and I'm winning on the transportation flag. So we'll go ahead and add 1 heart for each of those flags. All right, so we'll go ahead and put this away. That is the end of our turn and pretty much the end of this phase. We're going to move on to GURPS. All right, GURPS, what do you got? All right, GURPS places 2 hearts on their base. Another 2 hearts. Wow, yes, I shuffled. So we're going to add 2 more to its base. All right, GURPS is going to be happy. All right, now I'm kind of running out of room here, but what I like to do is maybe we could separate them outside of the base so that we remember these are the ones that are on their card, and on this side I'll put the rest of the hearts. So at the end of this era, they're going to get 4 hearts. All right, that is the end of the first turn phase. We are going to move to the acquisition phase, and the acquisition phase basically means that GURPS will be taking some things. To start off, it will take one of my draw piles here, right? We have 1, 2, 3, and 4. So which one of these GURPS is going to remove will depend on what is on GURPS card, and it'll always be the last card played. In this case, this is the last card played, and it is going to be the first stack. There's that 1 on the top left-hand corner, and so that will be the one that GURPS takes. It will remove the first stack, and it is gone from the game, no longer to be used. All right, and now I'm just going to fix this up. And the second thing that GURPS takes is one of my reputation cards. Of course, they're not mine yet, but it will take one from this display. So which one will GURPS take out? Well, it's era 1, so it will only remove 1 from the first row. And the game suggests you just shuffle the 3 cards and draw 1, and that's the one it removes. However, I don't like to mess around with my display, so what I like to use is a dice. So let me go ahead and roll that. And the way this works is if it rolls a 1 or a 2, it will remove the first card on that row. If it is a 3 or a 4, it will remove the middle card. And if it's a 5 or a 6, it'll remove the last card. So let's see what it removes. It is a 3, so it will remove the middle card. And what was it that I'm going to be missing out on? This one says have 3 or more hearts placed on your structure card, and you would have an ongoing ability. You may build a yellow structure card with a discount of 1 resource. That would have been nice to have. So that one is removed from the game, and I only have these 2 left. And let's take a look. This one says have all 4 resource types. I only have 1 so far. And every production phase, one of your blue structure cards produces again. So that's really good. And then the next one is have 5 or more of 1 resource type. So again, I'm kind of short. I've got 2 so far. Take X hearts whenever you flip a structure card. So that's a good ongoing ability as well. All right, we are now going into the final turn phase, and basically it's just 3 turns left. I would have had 8, but now I have a total of 7, and there's only 3 left. So I will take the first stack. Let's take a look and see what we have here. Impulsive Expedition. Add a resource from the supply to one of the flag rewards. The winner gets the resource. So that's tempting to continue to build on that transportation flag. We'll see. All right, let's see what we have here. All right, we could pretty much afford any of these. So I'm going to go ahead and I didn't like any of these for flags that I'm trying to win on. So I'm going to use the obelisk again. So let's go ahead and take the obelisk. It's free. Why not? All right. And then going back to my expedition, I can add a resource from the supply to one of the flag rewards. So we're going to go with a transportation flag and just continue to build on it. We're going to add an energy token this time. Again, we're going to put it under there. And that is the end of my turn. So we're going to put this back and we're going to tilt it so we know we've taken that turn. It is now back to GURPS. GURPS, what do you got? All right, this one says adjust vehicles. Okay, adjust vehicles is pretty simple. The reference card actually indicates that if GURPS is winning in these rovers, it will take a rover from one of its supplies and it will give it to me. So, and sure enough, GURPS is beating me 3 rovers to my 2. So it will grab one of its rovers and it will place it on one of my cards. Which card depends on this reference card. If you notice, there is a blue card in the middle of this reference box, so it will place it on my blue card, on one of them. And it always goes to the top card. So this is my top card, Ice Vapor. It places its rover there, and now I'm blocked there. All right, so that's pretty much what that card does. We're going to move on to now my turn. All right, so let's see what we have here. The influential expedition, add a heart to one of the flag rewards. So that'll probably be the transportation flag again, as long as GURPS doesn't start to beat me at it. All right, let's take a look and see what we have here. All right, so I could get this workshop. I would have to give up one of my rovers to get this energy token, and I really don't want to give another rover to GURPS because it'll start to beat me on those bonus flag rewards. Because if basically it breaks the tie. Anyone that has the higher amount of rovers will break the tie, and it will win that flag. So I don't want to give GURPS that advantage. So really, the only other thing is we, again, need to continue to build up on some resources. So I'm going to go ahead and take the solar panel. All right, that one is free, and I will get the solar panel reward, which is the energy token. And there we go. And now we have an energy token. All right, so that is the end of my turn. And now let's remember that we do have one heart that we can add to a flag reward. So I will add from the supply a heart on that transportation flag. And look at me go. I've got a ton. I'm really stacking it up over there. All right, that is the end of my turn. Go ahead and tilt that. And now back to GURPS. All right, GURPS, what do you got? GURPS scores, X hearts. There we go. There's that X that we talked about. There's the X right there. How many hearts? 3 hearts. So GURPS will gain 3 hearts right away. And I would put it here, but that, remember, these hearts represent hearts that are on their card. So it will actually be in their general or in their supply. All right, so now GURPS has 3. Back to me. Here's my last turn of this phase. And this expedition says you gain 1 heart for each flag you're currently winning. I'm winning at 2 currently. So let's see if we can't win another one. And there we go. That's one that GURPS does not have, but it does require a metal token. And guess what? GURPS has it. Oh, I don't want to give him another rover. So let's see. All right, I've decided to go ahead and purchase the lab anyway. I'm going to have to give up a rover because I don't have the metal token. So that means I will grab my rover, and actually we'll put this here, and we're going to give it to GURPS. And here is the card that provides the metal token. Here is the metal token, and I'm going to pay for that lab. And that was a little bit of a sacrifice, but really I don't have that many that were tied in. So that was actually an okay move. All right, so let's go ahead and use the obelisk. Might as well use that now. There is some pretty good cards on here I'm interested in as far as flags. So this one will definitely assure that I continue to build up on that transportation flag. This one will give me that house, but it does require the water token, and I'm okay with that. We'll go ahead and sacrifice that. And the reason I want to get this is because of that housing flag. It will tie GURPS. Now, it still beats me, but I'm on my way to continuing to stay up to date with his flags. So we'll pay for that card. The obelisk now goes back to my hand, and then I'm going to add a heart to that transportation flag so we can continue to build all this reward at the end of the era. All right, my turn is over. I will now flip this, tilt it over, and now back to GURPS. GURPS last move. What do you got? Place 1 heart on each flag. GURPS is currently winning. It is winning on 1 flag, which is the industry flag. It is tied with me on this housing flag, so it will get 1 heart. All right, and now GURPS has 4 points. All right, that is the end of Era 1. We are now going to move to the end construction phase. Basically what that means is we're going to take all the remaining cards from the display and discard pile and place them on the Era draw deck and then shuffle them. So let's go ahead and remove all of these. All right, and then we have these expedition cards are going to be taken back out of the game, and these get shuffled, and the discard pile also gets shuffled in. All right, and then the next thing we have to do is remove the rovers from the cards onto the supplies. All right, and I have 2 and GURPS has 3. And now, whenever we have to break a tie, GURPS will win. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to start with the industry flag. And so far, GURPS is beating me 1-0. GURPS will get 4 points. And we're going to add that to his stacks. And then the next one is going to be the science flag. And I'm beating GURPS, so I will get 3 points. All right. The next one is the housing flag, and GURPS is tied with me, but GURPS has the most rovers, so GURPS will get that as well. And then the next one is the food flag. I'm beating GURPS 1-0 on the food flag, and I believe these two correspond to the food flag, so I will get 4 points. And then the next one is going to be the transportation flag, and of course we all know who's been working really hard to get that, and that would be me. I will get all these points. That would be 7 points plus a energy token and a water token. All right, and continuing through the end of era scoring, the second step here, which is to give anyone that has hearts on top of their cards. As we know, GURPS has 4 hearts on top of its cards, and I don't have any. So GURPS will receive 4 more points to equal those hearts. There's 3, there's 1, there's 4. All right, and lastly, we need to remove one of the hearts. Now anything with an X is going to be worth 2 hearts instead of 1. And that's pretty much it for Era 1. We're now going to move back to the turn display setup. As we mentioned before, the turn display setup. All right, now that that is over, we're going to move on to the production phase, and that is basically produce everything that's on the blue cards. And fortunately for us, it's just going to be us, not GURPS. And there's biomass. And now we're getting some resources. We can get some other cards. All right, so that's the end of that. Thank goodness, because GURPS would have received a lot of production. So the next one is the turn phase. All right, and that is the end of my presentation, and I really appreciate it. All right, so welcome to Final Thoughts. So first off, I've only played Moon in solo mode, so I can only give you my feedback for that player count. But overall, the game is fun. There are a lot of cool mechanisms that intertwine well, and the bot brings in enough of a challenge to keep you engaged and learn the game overall. For the game playing time, I usually mark it around just under an hour as an average, and I've played it around 6 to 7 times already. And the box does state 30 to 60 minutes, so that seems to be right. I don't know about the 30-minute. That seems lightning speed. I'm probably not even thinking of my plays at that time. At that point, I'm just going with the motion. Of course, I managed the bot, so that probably contributed to some of my time as well. So I would think that for a 2-player game, it would be around an hour to an hour and a half. I can only imagine it going higher than that for more player counts. Now, as far as the game flow, it's smooth with several layers of strategy that just keep it long enough, but the AI turns are quick, so it helps to balance it out. Also, for a 2-player count or more, there is that pick and pass aspect, so that may contribute to some AP and increase the time, where the bot just flips its own stack, which I like that fast, low maintenance piece of the solo mode. The game is simple to play. You choose a card and build your tableau, and you have several other free actions you can take in one turn. I like how some of the cards interact well with other cards, leading to more of an engine. For example, some of the reputation cards, if you can get to them first, produce more points with other certain structure cards, or the flip cards that reset at the end of each era, which allow for more scoring, but you still need to combine them well with other cards in order to make them work. I also like how some of the expedition cards bail you out of tight spots right in the nick of time or prepare you for the next move. It's great that they kind of stay in your stack, allowing you more opportunities to use them immediately or plan to use them later on. as long as GURPS doesn't get to them. I like how you can add rovers to other cards to gain resources or flags. Of course, you still have to play with some caution so that GURPS doesn't beat you in the rovers during the end of era scoring. There is a hard mode, hard solo variant in the rule book that I hope to try soon, and will post my experience of that one when I'm done. It basically just lets GURPS take away an extra turn deck from your draw pile during the acquisition phase, so that you only have 2 turns left instead of the 3 on each era. Some things I didn't like. So as far as component wise, the hearts, my big fingers really struggled with handling them, as I'm sure you may have noticed, including adding them to the cards themselves, especially with limited space, even stacking them, on top of other hearts, or maybe resource tokens as well, took some surgical precision, right? Not sure why, but it was just the hearts, because the rovers and the tokens were fine. Maybe it's just me, because I also could have flipped the value of those hearts as well, so I didn't have to grab so many hearts. But thought I'd mention it. Also, I didn't like that some of the cards have made you keep resources in order to keep hearts on the cards. So you have to keep track of that. And something like the distiller card was kind of annoying. I find myself having to, keep forgetting to, keep track of the resources versus the hearts on top of the cards. So that was a little bit challenging. But that's just, really picky at this point. But I thought I would mention it as well. There were some plays where I made so many resources and flags that by the time I got to Era 3 cards, their requirements just didn't seem that challenging. It didn't seem as significant as much as it could have been, right? And a lot of them give you really powerful bonuses. And so not being able to, or being able to purchase them really easily towards the end of the game just kind of seemed insignificant at that point. But overall, this was a very enjoyable and exciting to play, for me at least. And the solo mode was easy enough to where I could feel the challenge. It made me have to pivot several times to where I had to change my entire strategy in order to keep up with the flags as we race to the flag bonus board and keep up with my resources at the same time. But because it is a low maintenance bot with quick moves, it really allowed me to play my game. But that's it for me. I hope you enjoyed my first video, as short as it was. Hope to provide another video in the not too distant future. But until our next board game adventure, hope you have a great time with this one.